I'm sure each and every one of you are waking up and you are probably in some room in your house. Well, wherever you are, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, Haiti, New York City, I welcome you to the Daily Double. The Daily Double is this morning daily conversation for 30 minutes. We get together and equip ourselves with what we need to deal with the circumstances and make great decisions and continue to deliver results in the face of the circumstances. So welcome, welcome. Today we have a very special guest with us, and I request your permission to have me read his introduction. We're really honored to have Dr. Jeffrey Gardere with us, and Dr. Jeff is one of the most widely sought after experts in the field of mental health. In addition to having a private practice in Manhattan, he's an associate professor and course director of behavioral medicine at Touro College of Osteopathic Medicine in New York City. Dr. Jeff is also an ordained interfaith minister with a doctorate in divinity from the New Seminary. Dr. Jeff, better known as America's Psychologist, is also a prolific author of 4 books and a contributing author of a half dozen books, including the brand new text, The Causes of Autism. In addition to being a respected academician, Dr. Jeff has been a contributor to the Fox Network, the Today Show, MSNBC, and CNN. Dr. Jeff was the host of VH1's Dad Camp and recently was the psychologist on the Housewives of Atlanta. He's also the aftercare coordinator and psychologist for Lauren Lake's Paternity Court. World, help me welcome my very good friend here to address this question. How are you adjusting your family life, your personal life, and your business life in the face of this pandemic? Dr. Jeff, good morning and welcome to the Daily Double.
Good morning, thank you. And I'll tell you what, I'm tired. Yes,
well, you should be. You just spent 2 days on the Peloton.
But I'm so happy to be with you and all your guests. And hello, world. Saurel, thank you so much for putting this together. Your Daily Huddle show is something that is needed. And thank you for being a hero and doing this each and every day. Certainly a leader in your community, as you always have been, as you always will be. Thank you so much. And I see a lot of old friends there too, including Lorna Valsin. I think I know Edwin Magloire, but you know, of course, we know the Magloire family.
Yes, you don't know Edwin Magloire.
Yes, exactly. And Albert Decade, please don't be so serious. You know you're looking handsome as always. There's that really smile. Don't get me started.
Hey, Dr. Jeff, I missed doing something before starting. This broadcast is not possible without the partnership of my very dear friend, my business partner, Mr. Giovanni Gonzalez. And Giovanni, I want to acknowledge you and I want to give you a moment to say good morning, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Saurel. Thank you for acknowledging me. Not necessary. I'm like super excited to be with Dr. Jeff and everyone on the call. Thank you all for joining in. And I'm just really tuned in and paying attention to the opportunity of the conversation. I do hope that everybody's well and your family's well, and we are with you.
Thank you, Giovanni. Dr. Jeff, well, how are you, my friend? You're at the epicenter of this epidemic. You're in the heart of New York City, and I really want to thank you for saying yes to the opportunity of being with us in the face of it all, and also being so generous with your time and your expertise to inform the audience of the Daily Huddle. And so the floor is yours, my friend. What do you want to share with us?
Thank you. By the way, no one ever says no to Saurel Quettan, okay? But many of you know that already.
This is true.
And Giovanni, thank you so much for co-hosting along with Saurel today. What's going on in New York? Well, we have certainly a very grave situation. Of course, New Yorkers are very resilient, as those of us who are joining us today from around the globe, around the United States. But we have a stay in shelter order. People are absolutely discouraged from going to work, except for our first responders, our medical personnel. These are our new soldiers. We congratulate them. They're out there, the essential workers who are out there doing the work that they're doing, and they're more at risk. I'm concerned about these medical providers who don't have the equipment that they need, who are at the epicenter, who are being exposed every day, who are helping as many people as they can, as we're all doing our thing with social distancing and self-quarantining and so on. What's missing right now, Saurel and Giovanni, is the testing. So we can figure out where we are with this pandemic. Now, I know that the federal government, they are talking about possibly starting to reopen the country county by county. We know that's not going to work simply because in some of the rural areas, Saurel, the hospitals are perhaps are not as well equipped as some of the city hospitals. So what we're talking about is a migration of the illness, of the pandemic, of the disease, of the virus now to other parts of the country. So that certainly won't work. I think that if we all buckle down, if we stay at home, if we try to social distance as much as possible, if we take care of those who have a compromised immune system, if we take care of those who are seniors, and we see now 20% of the confirmed cases are younger people. So this is not just about older people. This is not just about this crazy talk that I hear that we have to go back to work, and if we have to sacrifice the elders, we do that. Absolutely not. It's ridiculous. So what we're doing in New York is trying to set a model of cooperation, of communication, of community, of doing the right thing so we could flatten that curve and somehow get through this pandemic, which we know that we will. But this is about, Saurel, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. This is really about our community. It's about humanity. It's about redefining who we are and finding our values that we lost in this divided nation, coming together to help one another through this unprecedented time. This, some people have said, is bigger than World War II. This is a World War III, but this is a war that we will win. And guess what? On this globe, we have God on our side.
Indeed, we do, Dr. Jeff. And as a mental health expert and as a citizen of New York City, how have you had to adjust? And what can you share with the world regarding that adjustment that will have them not only be effective, but also be the contributors to life that you're looking for them to be?
I think the biggest adjustment that we've made in New York, but I know we're doing it across the globe and certainly in many parts of the United States. We're seeing it primarily California, New York, and other places, Westchester County and so on, where we have some other epicenters. Really, the biggest adjustment has been staying home, not being able to work, not being able to go to school. So one of the things that I've been advising people to do is to keep a routine. Keep a routine that is very similar to what you had at work. Keep a routine that's very similar to what you had at school. It's not a situation of where you now, because you're quarantined at home or you self-quarantine or stay in shelter, that you should get up late in the morning, that you should throw all discipline to the side, that you're wearing pajamas all day. No, get up at the regular hour that you were used to getting up. Do exercise, eat properly, moderation in everything that you do. Wear something that may be casual. You don't have to wear a suit at home, but certainly wear something that shows that you are working and that you do have pride in yourself. Keep your steady hours. Study your 6 or 7 hours a day. Work your 7, 8, 9, 10 hours at home. Keep that routine going. Keep that self-discipline going. But more than anything else, else, check in on others. You know, so-called experts like myself, Saurel and Giovanni, we used to tell people all the time, oh, social media, it's, you know, it's keeping us from other people. Well, the worm has turned. Now it really is about being on social media, as we're doing right now, to be in touch with others. Yes, we're socially isolating, okay? We're social distancing, but we are social animals, social. So it's about communicating with as many people as we can. Now, on a sad note, I have to say that with the number of people, we have what, 54,000 confirmed cases in the United States. Many people are dying. But now what we're seeing is, even with funerals, even with people who are in nursing homes, we can't visit those people. My babysitter, her brother died in New York. She can't attend the funeral. She, you know, now they're going to simulcast into the funeral home. They're going to space out people no more than 10 at a time to attend those who are there. Those who are outside of New York are told not to come in. So this is our new reality. But again, there are ways that we can connect with one another. It may not be optimal, but it is what we have. And it's what we're going to have to rely on right now. This may become the new normal. We may go back to an old normal, but I predict that this is going to drastically, this COVID-19 pandemic is drastically going to change the way that we live.
Indeed, it has. And I think in a lot of ways, Dr. Jeff, it's changing it for the better. Now, you know, with COVID-19 and other diseases, you can see the symptoms readily almost and know that something's going wrong. But with the mental impact of social distancing, the mental impact of the stress of dealing with COVID-19, trigger them to think, hey, I'm not behaving in a way that's healthy for me mentally. I need to take action now. What are some of the symptoms of dysfunction? And what would you recommend to deal with the dysfunction?
Well, first and foremost, people can go on the CDC site to find out what the physical symptoms are. And as soon as they find out what those are, it's important that they notify a healthcare provider. But when we're talking about the psychological symptoms, what we're looking at is irritability. What we're looking at is sadness, dysphoria, where we feel that we have nothing left to live for, where we feel that we're losing control, we're panicking. What's going to happen the next day? You know, it's very interesting. Day by day, we begin to adjust to this thing. And as soon as we do, then another piece of news hits. Perhaps a spike in the numbers of people that are ill. Perhaps finding out that hospitals may not have the capacity. Perhaps finding out that someone that we know is now getting sick, and then it drives us right back into that feeling of being helpless. Well, we may not be able to control what's going on out there, but we can control ourselves and try to, with some semblance, control our own lives. So that means, as you said, Saurel, looking at what the particular symptoms are that tells us that we need help as far as our emotional challenges. Again, that feeling of sadness, crying, not feeling in control, in many ways being very irritable, getting into fights with our spouses. Now, I have a very good marriage, but I've got to tell you, even I got into an argument with my wife about not having a German Shepherd on the premises. I told you we needed a dog, and you didn't listen to me. Now I'm going to go out and get 2 of them. So, you know, those are the things that when we see that we're acting out of, Albert, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Albert Decade, right? So it is those things. By the way, Zaire Prosper, who is my one of my great producers on something that we'll be doing tonight at 7 o'clock, Saurel, you'll talk about that later, has joined us too. But when we see those symptoms, Saurel, you're absolutely right. Take action. Talk to someone. Talk, you know, go on social media. Contact Dr. Jeff, contact your mental health provider. And if you have a pre-existing mental health condition, it is important that you continue to get your therapy. Telemedicine, Saurel. There was a big push for that before the pandemic, and this is one of the permanent changes we're going to see. More and more people are going to dial in to make sure that their physical and mental health challenges are taken care of by telemedicine. So a lot of clinics, a lot of hospitals are now telling people, you know, get on one of the social media platforms, one of the medical internet platforms to speak with us so we could see you on video, so we could talk to you by telephone, talk to you on WhatsApp. So that you can, more than anything else, stay in contact with your health provider. That is not going to change. That is one of the things that you should be doing right now. You don't have to be a superwoman or a superman. You can do this by getting the help of trained professionals and your community. A lot of people out there doing, blogs, going online live, and they're providing the help. Take advantage of it.
Awesome, awesome. You know, today on the Daily Huddle, Dr. Jeff, people have a tremendous opportunity to just ask Dr. Jeff, right? You've
Exactly.
got this thing on your website, and so I'm thinking we could dedicate the next few minutes of the huddle for people to ask Dr. Jeff. And want to give Giovanni and Manisha, Manisha is a ER doctor at in the Emory Healthcare Center, and Giovanni is my business partner. Giovanni and Manisha, I want to give you first dibs on saying, ask Dr. Jeff. But before you do that, Dr. Jeff, I'd love for you to take 1 minute to tell people about tonight's opportunity with you.
Absolutely. Well, we have something called How Does It Feel? Remember that singer D'Angelo? From Florida. How does it feel?
Oh my God, I didn't know you could sing.
Hey, I'm Haitian. I got 15 jobs. So tonight, right? Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Public Central time. We are telling people they can join us simultaneously live on Facebook and Instagram. And you can get that information. And here it is, Giovanni. Write that down, my brother, because I know that you are a details-oriented man. I could tell by the way your hair is perfect. Saurel and I used to have hair. We don't anymore. It's facebook.com /Jeff Gardere, JEFFGARDERE. Again, facebook.com. I believe that's / Jeff Gardere, JEFFGARDERE, or Instagram at Dr. Jeff Gardere, all lowercase, at DR JEFFGARDERE. Please send all your questions, things that you want me to ask, things that you want to ask that I can respond to. And you could send that to info@drjeffgardere.com. That's info@drjeffgardere.com. And we'll post something on your site, Saurel, so people can find this information. So tonight we'll be asking you, how do you feel? It's an opportunity to ask many, many more questions. You'll be asking some today on the Daily Huddle, but certainly you can ask us this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time or 4 p.m. Left Coast time, as I like to say. And by the way, that show is produced by Zaire Prosper, and our executive producer is going to be the one and only David Armour. This man is the creator of Paternity Court and the creator of Couples Court and a bunch of other shows on TV. So the quality is going to go in before the name goes on. I think I stole that from someone. I think that was Zenith or something, right? Remember that? Quality goes in before the name goes on.
Good work. We'll make it go far and wide, and certainly encourage all of our listeners to be with you this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time and 4 p.m. Left Coast time.
And by the way, Adriana Zutenhorst, By the way, Adriana, whether you're married or single, don't ever lose that last name, Zutenhorst. Okay? I love that name. We are going to get Zaire, if you would, please add that onto the chat, add all of that information. If she doesn't do it, I'll go ahead and do it. And Adriana, I see
I'll do it, Dr. Jeff. I'll do it.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Adriana, I see you. What a lovely person you are. Professionally speaking, of course. Hashtag stay out of trouble, Dr. Jeff.
Well, we'll start with Ask Dr. Jeff. Giovanni, Manisha, we get you to open it up. Who wants to go first?
Well, I have a question, but I don't know, Giovanni, do you have one you want to go say first?
Manisha, ladies first.
Okay. So I did notice, so thank you, Dr. Jeff, for being here.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
I am an ER physician at Emory, and I had a shift on Wednesday night. And for the first time, I got a little insight into how OCD and PTSD could develop. So myself personally, the number of people who are coming to the emergency room luckily has gone down, but majority of the people who are coming all have a concern for COVID. So really around us constantly, it's like making sure people aren't getting too close. And the energy in the ER is disturbingly high, but there's also still an enormous amount of joking and laughing, but it's I hate to use the word, but it's just vibrating completely differently. It's not a casual, loving type of thing. It's an avoidance. And so I noticed during my shift that I got so overwhelmed with so many people around me coming up to you, getting too close, my want to constantly wash my hands, not go into rooms. And so I noticed that if I don't do something, I very well could develop an OCD for washing my hands or washing my hair, or the post-traumatic stress of somebody getting too close. I'm not sure if you have any tactics with regards to how to maybe avoid that from happening.
Good doctor. I think it's going to be very hard to avoid that from happening. But I think what's important, and there is wisdom in your words, Manisha, which is basically noticing what it is that is going on. Sometimes we get so lost in that moment that we fall into the pathology of not understanding that we are at a heightened level, an arousal level that keeps us in the fight or flight part of our systems, where we have all of this adrenaline that's constantly flowing. So one of the things that you can do, even though you're in the emergency room, is to take a few minutes just to, and I was going to say just to breathe, but don't breathe too deeply, right? And we can laugh at that too. By the way, that laughter that you hear in the ER, some of the humor that is part of that is important, because that then releases, some of the neurotransmitters that help us to calm down. You know what they are, GABA and so on. It helps release the endorphins that slow down the heart rate and make us feel better. So it's important that you just take a moment, go into the corner, say a prayer if you need to. My favorite's a Psalm 23. I call that the anxiety Psalm. Again, I am an interfaith minister. And also Psalm 91, the protection Psalm. Some of you can look that up. And you don't have to be religious to read these things, because these are the wisdom of the ages. Even if you don't believe the Creator wrote it, even if it was man or woman who wrote it, these are things that have been around for hundreds of years, right? For centuries. So it's important that we heed some of those words. But take a few minutes just to breathe. Take a few minutes just to center yourself. Take a few minutes just to meditate and say, okay, this is where I am, but thank God that I am alive. Thank God that I am helping. Thank God that I am in a place to be useful to my society. And even though it's not where I was 6 months ago or 7 months ago as far as the stress. Well, at least I am moving forward and I give thanks. So you can come up with your own meditations. You can come up with your own little sayings that allow you to keep moving forward. You can come up with your prayers, but take that moment and center yourself and try to calm yourself down by being able to steady your breathing, by being able to maybe cut out as much of that stimuli that is coming in, that's coming at you a million miles an hour, and then step back into the fray. If you do that several times a day, that'll be helpful. You know, the Apple Watch, Saurel and Giovanni, there is something on it that says, you know, every 2 to 3 hours, okay, breathe, okay, sit, okay, stand. And so those are the things that give us the okay, move, that gives us the interlude to recenter ourselves and to get recharged. We have this idea in our heads that you have to go at it a million miles an hour. No, you don't need to do that. That's why we encourage people to step outside and get a breath of fresh air. Take time, rest, digest, recharge, and then jump right back in. Because I know you got to be in there like swimwear.
Well, thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you.
All right, doctor. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. These are our new superheroes and superheroines, our medical people, our first responders. You know, they're putting themselves at risk and then having to go home and putting their families at risk. So this is something that is unprecedented. They are the new superheroes. By the way, Saurel, I told my wife, who is a physician, honey, I hope that you did sign your living will, because God forbid something happens to you, we must go on. I'm giving it about 1.5 years and then I have to remarry. Men can't be alone.
I got you loud and clear, Dr.
Right,
Jeff.
Agata? Men can't be alone. Women can be alone. Men can't be alone. So I didn't sign the will, but I signed mine too.
Three minutes left. Now, just like good chocolate, I'm sure people on the line will want to ask Dr. Jeff a few more questions. Do we have your permission for you to stay and hang on with us as long as people want to ask questions for the next, say, 10 minutes?
Sure, absolutely. I'm there.
All right. Well, in that case, when 9:30 strikes, we will keep our promise to actually terminate the conversation, not by ending the meeting, but by leaving it up to you to hang up and go if you need to go. And if you need to ask a question, Dr. Jeff has graciously agreed to stay for another 10 minutes. So here we go. Ask Dr. Jeff.
And by
hey, this is CC.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Wonderful. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you guys for being so generous and all the other people involved. But I have a question for someone who has a compromised immune system and is subjected to reoccurring sewage in their home. And the management company, because of this corona thing, is refusing to repair the line.
Sounds like we need a physician on this one.
Yeah.
Isha, where are you?
I'm here.
Okay. Our physician stepped away for a moment, but I can tell you, you know, one of the things that you need to do is, I believe you have a 311. I know in New York it's 311. So whatever the equivalent of that is, I believe you're in Georgia, so a 678 area code. That is essential services. You need to that you are at risk. Document as much as possible what is going on, because eventually people will not respond to you unless they know that you have documented. If you didn't document it, it never happened. So let them know that you are documenting, show them the proof that you are calling in, and so your management company must respond. By the way, the management companies that I'm paying my fees to for my apartment, they're not saying there's a pandemic and we're going to excuse payment. They're saying, can you please send your payment in online because we're afraid we may not get it in the mail. That if you need your assistance, you must get your assistance. This pandemic does not excuse anyone from not doing what their duty happens to be.
Dr. Gardere.
Dr. Jeff. Who else wants to ask Dr. Jeff?
Saurel, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Thank you, Saurel, again for putting this together. Thank you, Dr. Gardere, for graciously giving us your time this morning and giving us advice and much needed advice at this time. I want to take this little moment to give a shout out to all healthcare workers. You guys are our heroes. Of course, you're Dr. Gardere. You are the psychologist of the whole country. So I want to give two shout out to two people who are very dear to me. Yendi Dikedi, who's my wife, also a healthcare worker, a nurse. My sister Marie Alexis, who's also a nurse. So I'm an attorney. I get to stay home. They get to be on the front line, but I have to interact with them. How do somebody who maybe feel a little bit more comfortable being able to quarantine, however, you have your mate who's out there who's on the front line. How do we help each other her anxiety is a lot higher than mine. Obviously, when she comes home, she takes off her clothes in the garage and you know, I'm like, oh, stay away from me, like, you know, shower. But how do we take care of our mates who are out there who are on the first line? So this question is not just for me, it's for anybody who has their mate out there on the front line as a healthcare worker. Again, you guys rock.
All right, thank you. Saurel, I would say our good doctor should, you know, at least answer part of that as to, and doctor, I don't know if you heard that, the question from Edwin, but basically what he's saying is that his wife has to go to work every single day. She's on the front lines providing health services. I would think, and he's uncomfortable with her coming back into the home because she's more at risk, so puts his family more at risk.
So, I mean, I can tell you what I do, and the majority of us do. We have Facebook groups with physicians, and everybody's handling this a little bit differently. Some people are going to extremes and moving out, but for a lot of this, it's not possible to leave your toddler and your significant other or your husband. So personally, what I do myself, if I'm answering the question, which is how should she reduce the risk of infecting you guys, is she changes at work into regular clothes, doesn't wear her scrubs into the car. And then when she gets home, if you have a garage, even if you're in a hallway, I mean, if I was living in New York, I trained in New York City. So I would just, even during those times, during Ebola times, I would take all my scrubs off in the hallway. And my neighbors knew what I did, so they never questioned if they caught me naked by accident. But I take all my clothes off and I put them in a garbage bag in the garage. Then I use Clorox wipes and I wipe down my entire seat, my steering wheel, everything in the car. I come into the house and I go straight to the shower and I wash. I get in with my glasses, with my hair tie. I wash everything, my glasses, my body, my hair, every single time. And then I come out. And, honestly, that's the best that you can do. And that's from the healthcare perspective. If you're not going to move out, all you can do is make sure that nothing that touched the hospital touches your family, and you clean it, and that's pretty much it.
And doctor, what you said, I thought was, first of all, that's invaluable information, and I think someone needs to write that down, Saurel, and put that on your site on the Daily Huddle. That is invaluable information. But doctor, one of the things that you said that I thought was the truth can we handle the truth? And the truth is, Edwin, families like yours and mine and so many others, millions of families, are at increased risk because our spouses are on the front lines, essential personnel, frontline personnel, emergency responders, medical providers. And so, yes, there is an increased risk. I know I'm willing to deal with it. You know, she's my wife. God forbid she gets sick, then, you know, I may get sick too. These are the chances we take. I mean, you can't live life at zero risk. I think we're learning that the hard way.
Hey, Dr. Jeff?
Yeah.
But
Hang
the other
on
thing, most importantly, sorry, go ahead.
1 second, please. Just for clarification, the person who asked the question was Albert.
Oh, it was Albert. I thought it was Edwin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Edwin. Okay.
Handsome, serious guy, right?
Yeah.
And,
Edwin was going to ask a question. I hope he got next.
Okay.
and
All right,
I
no
want to
problem.
shift the conversation just a little bit, because Albert's concern was not for his spouse not taking the precautions necessary, but really, how does he take care of her, given the heightened anxiety that she's dealing with? How can he be of support mentally and psychologically?
Okay, well, still, I think our good doctor gave good information, because I know that's the concern of what she talked about is the concern of other people. And I'll answer his question, what he can do to take care of her. But what the doctor gave was great information. By the way, what I do, doctor, when my wife comes home, not only do I have her take off her clothes and jump into the shower, but I take the clothes to the backyard and I burn them. I'm just kidding, just kidding. Just kidding, folks, don't do that.
Doctor, also talk about the German Shepherd thing too.
Yeah, right, exactly. But, I think the way that we take care of them is tell them how much we love them. And that was one of the things I told my wife this morning, that, look, I love you. If anything happens to you, it happens to me. I support you 1,000,000%. If you want to quit your job, don't worry about it. I got you. But she doesn't want to quit her job. She goes by the Hippocratic Oath. She is willing to risk, life and limb, for, our society, which is part of why I love her so much, and why, I also love you too, Dr. Manisha. Don't tell your partner I said that.
He's listening.
I think he is listening. Well, you're a lucky person. He is. And I think the other part of that is we help them around the house as much as possible. So I cook dinner as much as I can when she gets home. I clean the house as much as I can. And I cater to her as much as I can. Try to get the family to work as a group, as a working unit, to take off as much pressure on this person who's out there on the front lines as possible, and listen to what it is that they have to say. They are, even though they're out there, they're scared, they're concerned. Don't just poo-poo it away like, oh, well, you're a doctor, you can handle this. Oh, this is your job. No, listen to what it is that they have to say and let them express themselves.
Thank you, Dr. Jeff. We have time for one more question.
Hello, Saurel.
Edwin, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And we did meet. I'm a Bell Initiative Fellow from the 2019 cohort. So we did meet in Atlanta. And my question is, living in Haiti as a medical professional, the response, for example, that the US or that the European countries have been having into the COVID-19 is not, similar to a country like Haiti, because we have so many limitations. And there's a big feeling of powerlessness as a medical professional, because you want to help and you should be on the front line at the same time, but you know that the government and the health ministry is not necessarily doing, or maybe don't have the capacity to actually reinforce that action. So there's a big feeling of powerlessness in the whole medical field. So I wanted to ask you, how exactly do you deal with that? And sometimes you really want to contribute, you really want to do more, but since you don't have the infrastructure or superstructure to support you doing that, you get overwhelmed by this feeling of powerlessness, and you tend to disconnect. So I really wanted to know, how exactly do you cope with that?
Well, I think one of the most important, first of all, it is great to hear from you, and God bless you, and good luck with Haiti. I know that the president there is also trying to do a stay in shelter. And I've heard from many Haitians on WhatsApp that they're like, okay, stay in shelter and do what? We can barely squeeze out a living on the streets. And now you want us to stay home, but you're not giving us anything in order to survive. So it's almost an impossible situation. But I think this is where every little bit helps. Whatever you can do, even if it's just an hour of your time, even if it means just helping one individual person, that is your contribution. That one person getting the help is better than no one getting anything at all. I would also say, Edwin, it's also important that you get as many of the fellow physicians and medical providers together so that they can talk to one another, be each other's solace, be each other's comfort, talk about what it feels like to have the tremendous knowledge and responsibility of helping others, but how in many ways it's one of the most difficult things that you'll ever do. It was tough before the pandemic, and it's going to be even tougher now. But that's why having a social support, professional support, being able to lean on someone else, a fellow professional, family members, friends, is really important in these extraordinary times.
Thank you very much.
For the question, Edwin, and thank you for your generosity, Dr. Jeff.
Absolutely.
We are now at 41 after, and we did say we'd extend the time by 10 minutes. And thank you for your generosity in doing that. I want to give my business partner the next to last word, and then Dr. Jeff, he'll pass on the mic back to you to close the Daily Huddle out. Giovanni.
Thank you, Saurel. I just want to, thank you, Dr. Jeff, again for being here and for taking your time and opening up the opportunity of what you know and having a chance to ask you questions. It's been really insightful. I want to thank everybody also for joining in the Daily Huddle. I don't want to end with anything other than a thank you. Thank all of you for being here, and I thank you, Dr. Jeff, and we look forward to be with you at 7 o'clock on Instagram and Facebook for sure. Anything you want to end with, Dr. Jeff?
Well, I just want to wish you all very well. These, again, are extraordinary, unprecedented times, but I know that together we can do this. It's unfortunate that it's happening, but it seems to be part of the evolution of changing us to deal with a brave new world. But let's not have people who are just dying by the wayside, making incredibly irresponsible decisions as deciding who lives or who dies. Everyone must live. We must extend a hand out to as many people as possible. And let's honor the people on the front line, our medical professionals, our politicians who are out there every day, and people like you and I, everyday people doing the best that we can, extending our hand. Winston Churchill said that when it's all over, as he was referring to World War II, let this be our finest hour. So I'm saying to all of you, let this be our finest hour, when we had to come together as a global community to fight a global pandemic, to be able to communicate, support one another, change lives, and just be able to extend a hand to each and every person out there. We can do this together. We will win. We will move forward. And God bless you all. And God bless America. God bless the world. Be strong.
Dr. Jeff, God bless you and your family.
Thank you.
As you know, my friend, we're only a text message, a phone call away. I'm reaching out, hugging you right now. Pass that on to your family. Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Much love. Ladies and gentlemen, today's Daily Huddle has ended. I will see you, and Giovanni will see you, and we'll see all of you on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Until then, have a phenomenal weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.